If you're a woman and you want to have a successful relationship,
It's successful.
a successful relationship with a guy, the #1 tip to remember is
Never assume that the guy understands that you and he have a relationship. The guy will not realize this on his own. You have to plant the idea in his brain by constantly making subtle references to it in your everyday conversations, such as,
Roger, would you mind passing me the sweet and low in as much as we have a relationship?
Wake up, Roger. There's a problem in the desert. We have a relationship. You and I do, I mean.
Good news, Roger. The gynecologist says we're going to have our 4th child, which will serve as yet another indication that you and I have a relationship.
Roger, in as much as this plane is crashing and we probably only have about a minute to live, I want you to know that we've had a wonderful 53 years of marriage together, which clearly constitutes a relationship.
never let up, women. Pound away relentlessly at this concept, and eventually it will start to penetrate the guy's brain.
Someday, he might even start thinking about it on his own. He'll be talking with some other guys about women, and out of the blue, he'll say,
Elaine and I, well, we have, this thing.
And he will sincerely mean it.
Contrary to what many women believe, it's fairly easy to develop a long-term, stable, intimate, and mutually fulfilling relationship with a guy.
Of course, this guy has to be a Labrador Retriever.
With human guys, it's extremely difficult.
this is because guys don't understand what women mean by the term relationship.
Dave Barry offers some insight into the communication gap between the sexes in
The Difference Between Men and Women by Dave Barry.
From Dave Barry's Guide to Guys.
Let's say a guy named Roger is attracted to a woman named
Elaine.
He asks her out to movies.
She accepts. They have a pretty good time.
So a few nights later, he asks her out to dinner.
And again, they enjoy themselves. They continue seeing each other regularly until neither one of them has seen anybody else.
And then one evening, when they're driving home, a thought occurs to Elaine. And without really thinking, she says it aloud.
Do you realize that as of tonight, we've been seeing each other for exactly 6 months?
And then there's silence in the car.
To Elaine, it seems like a very loud silence.
She thinks to herself,
I wonder if it bothers him that I said that. Maybe he's been feeling confined by our relationship. Maybe he thinks I'm trying to push him into some kind of obligation that he doesn't want or isn't sure of.
And Roger's thinking,
Gosh, 6 months?
and Elaine is thinking,
But hey, I'm not so sure I want this kind of relationship either. Sometimes I wish I had a little bit more space so I'd have time to think about whether I really want us to keep going. I mean, where are we going? Are we just going to keep seeing each other at this level of intimacy? Are we heading toward marriage? Toward children? Toward a lifetime together? Am I ready for that level of commitment? Do I really even know this person?
Roger's thinking,
So that means it was February when we started going out. Which was right after I had the car at the dealer's, which means, let me check your doctor. Whoa! I am way overdue for an oil change here.
and Elaine is thinking,
He's upset. I can see it on his face. Maybe I'm reading this completely wrong. Maybe he wants more from our relationship. More intimacy, more commitment. Maybe he sensed, even before I sensed it, that I was feeling some reservations. Yes, I bet that's it. That's why he's so reluctant to say anything about his own feelings. He's afraid of being rejected.
and Roger's thinking,
And I'm going to have him look at that transmission again. I don't care what those morons say. It's still not shifting right. You better not try and blame it on the cold weather this time. What cold weather? It's 87 degrees out. And this thing is shifting like a garbage truck. I paid those incompetent thieves $600.
and Elaine is still thinking,
He's angry, and I don't blame him. He'd be angry too. I feel so guilty putting him through this. But I can't help the way I feel. I'm just not sure.
and Roger's thinking,
They'll probably say it's only a 90-day warranty. Scumballs.
oh, and Elaine is thinking,
Maybe I'm being too idealistic, waiting for a knight to come riding up on his
Knight?
white horse, when I'm sitting
Horse?
right next to a perfectly good person, a person I
What?
enjoy being with, a person I truly do care about, a person who seems to truly care about me, a person who is in pain because of my self-centered romantic schoolgirl fantasy.
and Roger's thinking,
Warranty? They want a warranty? I'll give them a warranty. I'll take their warranty and shove it right up their ass.
Elaine says aloud,
What?
says Roger, startled.
Please don't torture yourself like
says as her eyes begin to brim with tears.
Maybe I should never have. Oh dear, I feel so.
She breaks down sobbing.
What?
Says Roger.
I'm such a fool.
Elaine sobs.
I mean, there's no night. I really know that. It's silly. There's no night and there's no horse.
There's no horse?
You think I'm a fool, don't you? Elaine says.
No!
Says Roger, glad to finally have the right answer.
Woo! Yeah!
I need some time.
Elaine says.
There is now a 15-second pause in the bar, while Roger, thinking as fast as he can,
12,
tries to complete a safe
11,
response.
10,
9,
8,
7,
6,
5,
4,
3,
2.
1.
Finally,
Yes.
he comes up with one he thinks might work.
Yes.
Elaine, deeply moved, touches his arm.
Oh, Roger, do you really feel that way?
She says,
What way?
Says Roger.
That way about time.
says Elaine.
Oh,
Says Roger.
yes.
Elaine turns to face him and gazes deeply into his eyes.
Causing him to become very nervous about what she might say next, especially if it involves another horse. At last, she speaks.
Thank you, Roger.
She says,
Thank you.
Says Roger. Then he takes her home.
and she lies on her bed, a conflicted and tortured soul, weeps till dawn.
Whereas Roger gets back to his place, sits on the couch, opens up a bag of Doritos, turns on the TV, and immediately becomes deeply involved in a rerun of a tennis match between two Czechoslovakians never even heard of.
Oh, look at the racket she's carried.
You know, something in the far recesses of his mind says there's probably something major
I'd
going
let
on in
her
the car,
serve me.
but he's pretty sure he'd never understand what. So he
My
figures
pleasure.
it better if he didn't think about it. This is also Roger's policy regarding world hunger.
Yeah, hit that thing.
The next day, Elaine will call her closest friend, or maybe two of them, and they will discuss the situation for 6 straight hours, going over it time and time again in painstaking detail. They will analyze everything she said and everything he said, going over it again and again, exploring every word, expression, and gesture for nuances of meaning, considering every possible ramification.
They'll probably continue to discuss this subject, off and on for weeks, maybe even months. Never reaching any definite conclusion, but, never really getting bored with it either.
Meanwhile, Roger, while playing racquetball with a mutual friend of his and Elaine's, will pause just before serving, frown, and say,
Norm, did Elaine ever own a horse?
And that's the difference between men and women.